So good morning students. Today in the last classes we had discussed about the plant cell and the animal cell. Okay, what are the differences we had studied and what are the structures of the plant cells we had studied in the last class. So today we will discuss about a cell membrane. Okay, what is the topic of today? That is the cell membrane. Cell membrane means the membrane which is enveloping or which is present around the cell. That is known as the cell membrane. Cell membrane, which is also known as the plasma membrane. What is also known as? It is also known as the plasma membrane. Here, who had discovered this first cell membrane or the plasma membrane means it was first discovered by a scientist name of that scientist is Scaven. Who had discovered the cell membrane or plasma membrane? Scaven in the year 1938. Okay, the cell membrane, which is also known as the plasma membrane. So that is first, it was discovered by the that is the Scaven. And here the cell membrane or the plasma membrane will found. This is one of the cell organelle which is found in the eukaryotic cell. In whom it will found, in which type of cells? That is the eukaryotic cells it will found. And whatever the term cell membrane, which was first given by the Nageli and Kramer. This is about the discovery of cell membrane or plasma membrane. Here, the term first given by the term, that is the cell membrane or plasma membrane, it was first given by Nagel and Kramer, who had given the term, that is cell membrane, that is the Nagel and Kramer, who had discovered this cell membrane or plasma membrane, that is this Scaven. It was given in the 1938 and the term was given in the year it is the 1838 and here it was first given by in the year 1855. Okay, the next here all membranes, whether it is externally present, such as if this is the cell. Okay, if cell membrane is present externally or internally. From inside the cell, if it is present, see, from inside it is present or from outside, whether it is external or internal, now it is called as the cell membrane. Okay, either it will present externally or internally. Present externally or internally, and that particular membrane which is present internally or externally of the cell, that is known as the cell membrane, or else one more term is there, that is known as the biomembrane. What it is known as? It is known as the cell membranes or biomembranes. Whatever the it does not matter whether the membrane is present from the inner side of the cell or from the outer side of the cell. Okay, so that particular term what they had given, that is the cell membrane or the what? That is the biomembrane. And here, what is the size of that particular cell membrane? Over here, it is around whatever the thickness that measured in the term of thickness, what it is means it is around 75 angstrom. This is the thickness According to this size, they had measured in terms of what size, what it is, that is around 75 angstrom. And whatever the biomembranes or the cell membrane, one of the important characteristic feature of this biomembrane, that it is selectively permeable. Now tell me, what is the meaning of selectively permeable? You will see the meaning. Here you see, whatever the cell membrane or plasma membrane or biomembrane, what we are telling, what is one of the important characteristic feature of that? Cell membranes are selectively permeable. What they are? They are selectively permeable. What do you mean by this? The meaning of selectively permeable, here you see. Okay, permeable means which is allowing, which is permitting, giving permission. See, if this is the cell and this is the cell membrane. So, permeable means something that is going to allow. For example, these are some of the molecules. Okay, these are what? These are some of the molecules. So, this membrane, if this membrane is allowing these molecules to move from outer side of the cell, okay, this is the external environment of the cell or whatever the outer side of the cell is there. Here, this arrow mark is showing it is allowing inside the cell. Okay, see, but not all. Here the molecules are of different types, red color and black color. It's allowing, they have the ability to allow or to pass only black color molecules, not the red color molecules. That's why you can see only black color molecules has moved from outside of the cell to the inner side of the cell. So that is the reason, that is known as the only the selected. What are the selected ones? That is the black colored ones are the selected molecules which is allowed by the cell membrane from outside to the inner side of the cell. Okay, through what? Through the membrane. That is the reason why we are calling it as the selectively permeable. Means they are allowing only a selected molecules. Okay, this is one of the important characteristic feature of what? Of cell membrane. Next, next we will see about the what is the chemical composition of the cell membrane or whatever the plasma membrane or cell membrane. What are the chemical substances are present? Okay, chemically, the cell or plasma membrane, it is composed of plasma membrane. It contains, what are the chemical substances which are present in the plasma membrane or cell membrane, that we will see here. It is majorly or majority of which are the chemicals which are present in the cell membrane, means that is lipids, carbohydrates and fats. Okay, first one, that is lipids, carbohydrates and one more, that is fats. What is the quantity of that particular lipid, carbohydrate and fats? See here. And one more thing, sorry, lipid, carbohydrate, fats One more very important thing, that is the proteins and water. These are the things which are present in the plasma or cell membrane. Here, how much percentage of the lipid, they are not present in a equal ratio. There will be some fluctuation or there will be some changes in the amount of whatever the chemicals which are present in the cell membrane or plasma membrane. 20 to 79%. What it is present, that is the lipids. Then 20 to 70%, it is proteins. Then 1 to 5% carbohydrates. I will tell you later about the fats. Third, fourth. What about the water means? That is 20% is what is present. How much it is? That is 20%. Water is present. So here the important lipids. First we will see what are the lipids. Here I told you that how much lipid is present. What is the major quantity of these chemical substances which in present in the cell membrane or the plasma membrane mixer? That is the lipids. What are the lipids which are present in the cell membrane or the plasma membrane mixer? The important lipid or lipids of the membrane are phosphoglycerides and phospholipids. What are that one? Phosphoglycerides and phospholipids. These are the two lipids which is present in the cell membrane of the cell. Okay. The next, so these lipid molecules, whatever the lipid molecules are there, they are like here I will write. See here, these lipid molecules are there. These lipid molecules are amphiphilic. What it is? That it is the amphipathic. What is the meaning of amphipathic means? These lipid molecules are amphipathic. Why we are having this term to the lipids means? Because it has the polar ends as well as the non-polar ends. And that polar ends, see, as they possesses polar head, polar hydrophilic, and one more end is there. Okay, what it is? That is the non-polar and non-polar, that is hydrophobic. Here, what is the meaning of hydrophilic and hydrophobic means? Hydrophilic means water level or which easily absorbs the water. Okay, here the cell membrane of plasma membrane, it contains the lipids. That lipids are in two forms, that is either phosphoglycerides or phospholipids. Okay, so these lipids are having two characters or 2 points that it is amphipathic. Amphipathic means they possesses both ends. Okay, that is polar or hydrophilic head region. Here it is head region, and non-polar or hydrophobic tail region. What do you mean by this? Hydrophilic means the head region or whatever the end, to which we are calling it as the polar or hydrophilic, they can easily absorb the water. That's why here I have written they are also known as the water loving ants. Okay, one more is there, that is the non-polar tails. What it is? Non-polar or hydrophobic tail. What do you mean by hydrophobic? Means water repelling. They will not easily or they will not absorb the water. That's why we are calling it as the water repelling ants. So next here, this is about the lipids. Next, the second important or second chemical constituent of the plasma membrane, that is the proteins, which is present around 20 to 70%. So let's see about the proteins. We had talked about the lipids. Lipids, they are amphipathic. Amphipathic. Amphipathic means they possess both polar end and as well as the non-polar hydrophobic end. Next, we will see about the what we call, that is about the proteins. See here, next that is about the proteins. Here, whatever the membrane proteins are there, membrane proteins are there, these membrane proteins are classified, okay, or it can be classified into two types. What are that means? That it is classified into two types. What are that? Peripheral protein and one more, that is integral proteins. Whatever the proteins which are present on the surface of membrane, that proteins are known as the peripheral protein. One more protein is there, that is the integral protein. Here, integral proteins are the proteins present or which is present or totally or partially buried in the cell membrane. Partially or totally buried in the cell membrane. That type of particular proteins, see, peripheral proteins which are present on the outer surfaces of the membrane, they are known as the peripheral protein. And what do you mean by integral proteins means? These are the proteins which are partially or totally buried in the cell membrane. The next we will see about the carbohydrate. Here you can see this is the carbohydrate which is present around 1 to 5% of whole chemical composition of cell membrane, that is 1 to 5% is a carbohydrate. So here whatever the carbohydrates which are present in the cell membrane, that carbohydrates are present in which form? Means they are branched or unbranched. They are present in branched or unbranched manner. How they are present is, for example, like this, branches of these carbohydrates will found. Either it may be branched or unbranched, which are present on the surface of the, and this carbohydrate, specifically which type of carbohydrate here it is present, is that is oligosaccharides. What it is? That is the oligosaccharides. For example, oligosaccharides, for example, hexose, fucose, example, hexose, fucose, then hexoamine, etc. Hexoamine, etc. These are some of the examples of oligosaccharides which are present in branched or unbranched manner. What are that? Hexose, fucose, and hexoamine. Okay, which comes under, which are the examples of what? Oligosaccharides. Either it may be branched or it may be unbranched, like this. Okay, the next here many type of models has given by many of the scientists. Okay, but which was the most accepted model for the cell membrane or plasma membrane, means that is given by his name, that is the Singer and Nicholson. Okay, we will see about that model. Widely accepted and widely accepted and improved model of cell membrane, which was first discovered by Singer and Nicholson. What is the name of that scientist? That is the Singer and Nicholson. Okay, so Singer and Nicholson in the year 1972 had proposed a model, and the name of the model they had given, they both have proposed a model, and the name of that model they had given as the fluid mosaic model. What they had, the name they had given? Fluid. This is very important point. Fluid mosaic model. Okay, who had discovered this fluid mosaic model? That is the name Singer and Nicholson. Okay, according to this, the quasi fluid nature of lipid, we have to see, according to this model, the quasi fluid nature of lipids enables the lateral movement of proteins within the overall bilayers. Movement of proteins within the bilayer. Okay, what they are telling, whatever the lipids, see, first of all, many scientists has discovered or proposed the model to explain the cell membrane or plasma membrane, but they had not accepted which was the widely accepted model for the plasma membrane or cell membrane is, that is proposed by two scientists, Singer and Bolzer, and they had given the name for that is fluid mosaic model. Okay, and according to this model, whatever the quasi fluid nature is there of this plasma membrane, see, quasi fluid nature means whatever the movement of the lipid bilayer or whatever the lipids are there, that, see, quasi fluid nature of lipids, it's allowing the lateral movement of proteins, okay, within their bilayer. Okay, whatever the movement which is occurring in the lipids, that lipids only allowing the movement of what, proteins also in this model. So next, let's see about the structure of this fluid mosaic model of what, of plasma membrane. I will explain that one. See here. This is the model for what? This we can call it as the fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. Okay, then here there will be the presence of certain carbohydrates. This will be okay. Now see here, whatever the lipid will be there, here the lipid is present in bilayer. Okay, bilayer means that is the two layers. They are present in how? That is in two layers. You can see these are the lipids, which is arranged in which form? In two layer form. Okay, here you see the two layers are there of the lipids. So here, whatever the lipid is there, it has a hydrophilic head region or else a polar head region is there. Okay, this is one part of the lipid molecule, and the another which I am drawing with blue color, this we can say it as the hydrophobic or non-polar tail region. What it is? It is non-polar tail. Okay, see, listen here. It has hydrophilic polar head means which allows, which is this head region is facing towards the outside of the cell membrane, and tail region which is hydrophobic, so that is present inner side of the two lipid layers. So they are arranged in how, which form? There is a presence of lipid bilayer. Okay, then next here the polar heads of the lipids are towards the outer side, and hydrophobic ends, that is the tail, is towards the inner side. As you can see, this is the lipid bilayer. The next thing, this whatever the proteins are there, you can see here the red color proteins. These proteins are the integral proteins, which is totally buried inside this lipid bilayer, that we can call it as the buried integral proteins. And one more type is there, which you can see here. These are one more type of protein which is partially buried or which is present at the peripheral region of the cell membrane, which is known as the peripheral protein. What it is? That is the peripheral protein. You see here, these proteins are totally buried inside the lipid bilayer, that is known as the integral proteins, and the proteins which are present at the surface, at the peripheral layer of the lipid bilayer, that is known as the peripheral proteins. And I told you there is also a presence of carbohydrates, which is in the form of unbranched or branched form. These are the carbohydrate chains. These are the carbohydrate chains which are present in either branched form or in the unbranched form. Okay, so the proteins and carbohydrates are also present in the plasma membrane. The whatever the ratio of proteins and carbohydrates, it will be varying in different types of what? Different types of cells. It will be not similar in all types of cells. Okay, so the peripheral proteins which lie on the surface of the lipid bilayer, and the integral proteins which are totally buried inside. So this is the widely most accepted model of the plasma membrane. Okay, so this whatever the fluid nature of the membrane is there. See here, this fluid nature of membrane, it's having some of the important functions or some important aspects. You see here, the fluid nature of membrane, it is mainly, it has some aspects. What are the aspects? Means here in the cell membrane, means that it is like cell growth. It helps in the cell growth. Okay. The next that it is the formation of intercellular junctions. Formation of intercellular junctions. Okay, except this, it also helps in some of the secretions of the cell. Secretions, then endocytosis, engulfing the other substances inside the cell. That is also done by the cell membrane. And the last one, that is the cell division. These are some of the important factors or whatever the functions are there, that is due to the fluid nature of membrane. What are that? That it is cell growth, formation of intercellular junctions, secretion, endocytosis, and cell division. Okay, so this is about the what? About the plasma membrane. So next, what are the functions of the plasma membrane? Here the two terms are there, that is the active transport and passive transport. What do you mean by this active transport? Means here the active transport means some of the molecules require an energy to transport from outer side to the inner side. So what it is known as means that it is known as the active transport, and some of the molecules does not require any energy, and that it is known as the without the expenditure of energy, if they are transporting from one region to another region, that then it is known as the passive transport. So this is the things which we will study in the functions of the cell membrane. Okay, so let's see. See, first of all, I told you that plasma membrane is selectively permeable. Selectively permeable means that allows only the selected molecules from one region to the another region. So that is also one of the important function of the plasma membrane, which helps in the transport of molecules from outer side of the cell membrane to the inner side of the cell membrane. So many of the molecules are transporting through the which type of transport means that is the passive transport. Okay, then next thing here, the whatever the active transport is there, that is going to be implemented only to the some of the molecules, not to all molecules. Okay, so this particular which is dependent, the transport of molecules which is dependent on the energy, that it is known as the active transport. Okay, thank you. Tomorrow we will continue with next topic.